Roll call, please.
Mrs. A. Ayala,
Present.
Mrs. S. Ayala. Here. Mrs. Hines. Here. Mrs. Lamba.
Present. And then we already did the pledge, so we're gonna jump straight into celebrations.
All right, Kim. Hi. So celebrations for TTA. I was gonna have two kids, but one of them got called into work and the other one is a walker, and I think he chickened out because it's. He tends to walk everywhere, so, but I did bring Mr. Salazar with me, so, I couldn't pick one thing from TTA, one program, so I picked the tech and media class, who is, so you could see a little bit of everything. So the kids put together a video, and they took a bunch of stuff from the last couple of years and made it into, about a 7-minute video. So, and I brought Mr. Salazar so he can answer questions. So the tech class started out doing video announcements every day for us. And they've moved on to doing interviews and tours. And now we're moving on to doing web commercials for different places. And we've done some really cool stuff. And but it gives you an opportunity to see a little bit of everything. So if Jack and Dakota are ready. Oh, sorry, Mark. I'm sorry.
You guys ready to go?
Yeah. Well, this guy's a really good guitar player.
Yeah, it's from the 80s.
Yeah,
You know, I have no more hair though,
That's
it's my
right.
hair band.
he's in the anti-hair band now.
Currently playing, no. So we're on hole number one. Hole number one is the basketball court over there, the full. So we're making our best attempt to get as close as we can to that one.
Good, Zeke.
Then we got some trees. This one's stained, this one's not. We got the little guitar piece. Give me one more for that. This oh, that's killing. Today we're here with Digger with David. And what are you doing this time?
Those corners when the one point is.
This is a Klein Elegant here with the horses, and I had such a good time riding horses. Go for a little cruise.
Another one. Jacob, and the boy student of the month is Dakota. Public free results, and I think it's a great way to make a little bit of money, but also do the things I love. It's pretty like, that's all Spider-Man. What you're at the Rapid Entrepreneurship Program, there's a competition. You got some students that have already put their projects up. So we have a great speaker today. Please welcome David Carson. Thank you. This is going to be my presentation about the company I started in 2010 called Repurpose Materials. My name is David Carson. I'm founder and president of Repurpose Materials. I've been invited to come to Lawrence today to speak to young entrepreneurs. So in 2010, I founded a company called Repurpose Materials, where we find second homes, alternate second lives for materials, and we call that repurpose. So what we're going to do is I'm going to give you a magic show. Okay, so I'm going to answer Ben. Now I'm asking a few questions. Why did settlers choose to come to the Ghana? I think that we've had different formats stores. But what we're kind of looking to do now as a company is we look for towns about this population size that have enough citizens for like Walmart.
I'm Tilly Worley. I'm the secretary of the Southeast Colorado Community Partnership, SECCP, who is the spearheading this project, the historic renovation of the Plaza Block building in Ohio.
We are doing the Build the Best Burger contest. This is kind of the finale for the Science Boot Camp, which we've been doing all semester in animal science and food science.
That's it. The kids did all the camera work, well, you saw them do all the interviews and they did a lot of the editing too. So, yeah, and that's kind of how it goes. Guys got any questions?
Well,
You did a really good job.
who had the best burger though?
I didn't get to try it.
I think that was they did that on a Friday when there wasn't any of us around. All right, thank you.
All right,
Thank you guys.
Good job. Next on the agenda, we have audience portion. Do we have anyone signed up?
We do not.
Okay. Item C, approval of the agenda.
Make a motion to approve the agenda with the additions.
We have a motion and a second to approve the agenda with the additions, which are additions to the consent agenda. Nicholas Carson resignation was added, Vicky Massar, new hire. Then under new business, we have certifying the mill levy and then selection and appointment of board director, administering the oath of office to the board director, and then also choosing our new secretary treasurer, and then also our new CASB delegate. Questions or comments? Roll call.
Mrs. Ayala.
Aye.
Mrs. S. Ayala.
Aye.
Mrs. Hines. Aye. Mrs. Leba.
Aye. Item 3, consent agenda.
Before we get into that, I want to take one piece of that consent agenda, put it out to its own little topic for discussion. Can we do that?
Need a motion.
I make a motion to take the chief academic officer item, and put it on its own item for discussion. Second.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second to separate the new hire for chief academic officer to its own separate item. It would be under new business, correct?
Yes.
Okay, then can we make that to be before the item C, so that all of that still moves down?
Okay.
Questions or comments? Roll call?
Mrs. Ayala.
Aye.
Mrs. S. Ayala.
Aye.
Mrs. Hines. Aye. Mrs. Leba.
Aye. Item. Sorry, I scrolled. Minutes.
I still need to approve the consent agenda.
Oh, we just moved it. I'm sorry, you guys.
I make a motion to approve the rest of the consent agenda as presented. Second.
Motion and a second to approve the consent agenda with the changes. Roll call?
Mrs. Ayala.
Aye.
Mrs. S. Ayala.
Aye.
Mrs. Hines. Aye. Mrs. Leba.
Aye. Minutes.
Make the motion to approve the minutes from the November 11th regular meeting.
Second. We have a motion and a second to approve the November 11th minutes. Questions, comments, or corrections? Roll call?
Mrs. Ayala.
Aye.
Mrs. S. Ayala. Aye. Mrs. Hines.
Aye.
Mrs. Leba.
Aye. Superintendent's report.
Thank you very much, Madam President. I have a few things. Sorry about the late report. We were at CASB all second part of the week and didn't get that in. The biggest addition to the superintendent report is we're informed, I guess, at the end of last week and got to see it today, that we are going to be added to the application for the Gear Up grant. And what the Gear Up grant does is it helps us hire a person in our district that helps our students essentially get to college, get scholarship, go to college visits. We've had this grant, I guess, Heather, for 5 years or so, or previous 7. And we would receive this grant again for another 7 years. This grant's roughly $175,000 a year for the total for $1.25 million over the 7 years. And the best thing about this is we don't actually have to do all the bookkeeping for this grant. So another entity will do all the bookkeeping. They pay the person that's hired to help us out. So it's very good grant, good opportunity for us. As one of the other important items that I just want to state publicly is that while we were at, and I had heard a little bit before this, but while we were at the CASB conference, our lawyer, Michelle, resigned from the Rural School Alliance, retired, and also as being a lawyer. So we visited with some lawyers while we were there. And I sent that to y'all today, and we'll put it on the agenda in the future to retain our new law firm. And why is the name escaping me? Something in Ernest. Kaplan and Ernest, thank you. So we'll be more than likely working with Kaplan and Ernest. The reason a lot of our principals aren't here tonight is there's workshop, TNTP workshop tomorrow. And this is the second part of the workshop that they've been attending, and that's why they're there tonight. I wanted to give you a heads up on that. At the end of last week, Heather and I finished the EASY grant. The EASY grant is the money we use for our school turnaround projects, including something we will look at later on tonight with TNTP. And we finished that and turned that in, and that would be for the tune of $350,000 to help us with the turnaround status. That money would be used for TNTP and then also some of the stuff we do with University of Virginia, Arlington. And then last thing I'd share with y'all is when we get back from Christmas break in January, we should be waiting on my inbox to go ahead and start the best grant for our roofing project. So we'll get that going in early January. I believe we have to have that in by February 4th or 5th, something to that extent. So with that, Madam President, that's all I have to add for the superintendent report and recommendations.
Okay, and then just to add to that, I think when we did speak, so Kathleen Inverness did come recommended by Michelle Murphy, our attorney, and then she did state that she believed that they were going to honor our remaining agreement with them or with her until I think it was up in March.
I believe so.
Yeah. So I just wanted to add that in there.
Excellent. Thank you.
Any questions about the superintendent's report?
Who's currently your direct person? Shauna Schrock.
Thank you. To the best of our knowledge, she was there.
Under discussion, superintendent evaluation instrument.
So, Madam President, we agreed to get the new superintendent evaluation instrument for our audience. I'll tell you, it's an online platform. It's different than anything I've ever seen before. And throughout the year, the superintendent can put evidence in there's 6 different areas that he would put evidence into. And then when the time came, the board would review that evidence and use that tool to evaluate the superintendent. There's also a superintendent does a self-evaluation, and then the board does the evaluation after that. What we need to do tonight, and why it's on discussion, is we need to try to find a date that we could attend a Zoom training. So it would be nice if we could do that this month in December. I don't know if there's a time or date that works best for y'all. Right now, that would be this Friday. I don't know if I can pull it off, but I could try if we wanted to try to schedule something this Friday, possibly. And then next week, after everybody gets off work, that might be a possibility as well. It'd probably be best if y'all give me a couple of dates and times that I can get back with the gentleman and see what he has available.
Yep. Do that.
What's that?
I'll have
Jill
Jill
has
send
a-
out a doodle with a couple dates and we can kind of vote on it.
And we vote on that through there, what works best with our schedule, and then
Okay,
we'll set that up that way. Do you know how long this training is?
45 minutes.
Okay.
I would say we would probably block off an hour, but he said he thinks it can be done in 45 minutes.
All right.
All right, so we're gonna doodle that.
Yes.
All right.
Okay. New business, item A.
Oh, sorry about that. Just put stuff away. So we did interviews with 4 different firms to try to select our partial manager. So again, those 4 firms were TNTP, Relay, UVA, and one I'm forgetting. Instructional partners. And It was Sam and Claudia and I and on the interviews. Since this is Claudia's project at the intermediate school, we let Claudia kind of have the say of what she felt most comfortable with, which firm. And her and I actually both agreed that TNTP would be our best partner. So we are recommended to the board that we enter an agreement with TNTP as our partial manager.
Make a motion to approve TNPP as our partial manager.
A motion and a second to approve TNPT as partial manager in the amount of $199,000 or $199,838. Questions, comments?
I do have one comment, as I mentioned a minute ago, that figure, which is just right under 200,000, will be paid by the Easy Grant.
Is there a particular reason on the quote that was provided to us why that amount is highlighted with a big question mark next to it?
Because you got to see my form that I was actually writing on when, and it was the only one I had. So you actually saw my form that I was taking notes on while we were interviewing them. And Jill said, is it okay if we send this form? And I said, yes, it's okay if we send this form. Thanks for asking. No.
I just want to make sure we're clear on the amount.
Yeah, it's the same amount. It's just I had, when we actually interviewed, and while I'm smiling, but it's a really good question. We interviewed them a second time and we got to go through some questions and ask them to clarify for us. And I literally asked that question, can you tell us how you arrived at this amount? And then they did. And so we went over that amount a little bit more extensively, and that's why it was highlighted and also.
And they'll be working at the intermediate school as well as the primary school.
That's correct. And so we made it clear that they would work with both of those. And our justification for that was obviously the primary school feeds the intermediate school. And we did receive a federal document. Well, we received it from CDE, but it came from federal government that our primary school has been identified as needing help as well. And so we were able to actually build that into our Easy Grant. And what they said was, while there is no state test at the primary school, obviously, it's K through 2, the testing doesn't start till 3rd grade, that they used I believe the Dibbles results, and that the reading scores weren't good enough. Only 52% of 56% of the students, something that were leaving 3rd grade, leaving 2nd grade reading on grade level. So that allowed us to build that back into Easy Grant as well. And it allowed us to say, hey, we're going to use TNTP for both primary and the intermediate school.
And I know you and I had a previous discussion regarding this. We're currently using UVA, and we have decided to not continue with them, but how long are we still working with them?
Okay. We are continuing with UVA.
But not as our partial manager.
Correct.
Okay.
So UVA, we're in this program called Partnership for Leadership and Leaders in Education. And we will continue that for the rest of this school year and all of next school year. So I mentioned also in my superintendent report, for instance, that on January the 8th, a big group of us, I believe 13, Jill, 12 or 13 of us.
13.
We'll be going to Oklahoma City for a 3-day training. And that training is on what's called Get Better Faster, which is instructional improvement in our schools. So we have that. This coming July of 25, we'll go back to Virginia. And then the following January, we'll either go back to Oklahoma State or we'll go to another training similar to that. So yeah, so we have a year and a half roughly of continued. And then our partner TNTP, one of the questions we asked is, the question said, hey, we are working with UVA in this capacity. Have you done this before where you've helped us work with UVA? And TNTP said, absolutely. And they went on to answer the full question. So, anyhow, I have those questions in here somewhere if y'all wanted to see them that we asked. But yes, so they will be working in conjunction. And to make waters a little bit more muddy, CDE, Colorado Department of Education, will also be working in conjunction with TNTP and UVA. TNTP rep, her name is Sarah. She will be at our February presentation to the state board as well and be there to support us. Aaron Lofton will be there as well, to be there to support us, as well as Sam and Claudia and some of y'all.
How long do we have to be partially managed, just for those in the room who may not be aware?
At least 2 more years. I think that's what we have a 2-year agreement. Is what that was with TNTP. So we hope we get off the clock in 2 years. So that'll take 2 consecutive years of testing results above a certain level.
Thank you.
And the 200,000 will cover the remainder of the time that we can do.
It'll cover those 2 years.
So since we're only having UVA for 1.5 years more, but we have TNTP for the full 2 years, I imagine that last 6 months, there will be a seamless transition? Or will one just quit and we'll be ready to go, or how do you think that's gonna look?
TNTP will be around a little bit longer when we're through with UVA. TNTP more or less will be on campus here. They'll be working really, really closely with Claudia. Whereas our UVA program is more of leadership development and certain workshops that we go to. So TNTP is more rubber meets the road, really working on they'll also even help, like for instance, we're working on our math curriculum. They knew that and built that into this project, and they'll help us select our new math curriculum, help us implement our new math curriculum, help get teachers trained for the new math curriculum, all that stuff. So they're really, really more involved in our day-to-day operations, whereas the UVA program is just leadership development, try to help our principals be better principals.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'm gonna walk through this to make sure that I have a great understanding of what we're talking about and then sharing with the folks at home and the audience. So it was strongly recommended by CDE or the State Board of Education that one of the things that we do is have a partial manager to help with the administrative stuff with our intermediate school, but apparently we've been identified, so then that also includes our primary school in that. So UVA, it sounds like, is one of those that could be on the list for a partial manager, but that's not who we went with. But we are using UVA for a separate program that is just about leadership building.
That's
For
correct.
principals, okay. And then, so we have this $200,000. And I'm just curious, so like when it's broken down for like program staff, how many staff is that? Because that's for TNTP, like how many people is that covering?
Okay. Say that, are you asking about TNTP? How many staff is that?
Yeah, because it's 128,000 is for program staff under the TNT project budget. So how many does that cover?
They'll have multiple staff that comes out here to help. Now, Sarah will be our lead consultant, but like they have, for instance, math specialists that will come out, you know, in my math example, and help us with the math curriculum. And they'll have instructional specialists that will come out. So it's multiple. They are a huge firm. Right now, let me see if I wrote this down somewhere. They are helping a lot of schools in turnaround. I know, for instance, Cripple Creek is one of their schools that they're working with. Hold on one second. They work with a lot of smaller school systems as well. They work under the constraints of rural communities or I don't know why I wrote that, but they work with a lot of rural communities. I guess I did not write it down, but they have a lot of people in Denver. They're probably the lead partial manager I didn't mean to say Denver, in Colorado. So, yeah, I believe they're also working with Colorado Springs. They are for sure working with Pueblo, for instance. I think one of their strengths was they kind of talked about the clientele between Pueblo and us and having similar situations. So yes, it'll be a lot of staff that's here to help us.
Okay, so then when, I would like, since you offered, I would like to see the questions that were asked when we interviewed them. And then also, is there something that you could send us that shows it more broken down of like what we can expect that they're going to be doing with the
Did
staff
y'all
and the
get
program
the whole
expenses?
proposal?
Yeah, but it's not itemized, it's just this little section that says it's cost for this and a cost for that.
That's all I have for now. 'Cause what you see is what I have. Found some more notes. Hold on, I'm looking. Okay. I don't see the number of school districts is what I was looking for. All right, I'll get you the questions.
Thank you.
Hmm.
Any other questions? Roll call.
Mrs. Ayala.
Aye.
Mrs. S. Ayala.
Aye.
Mrs. Hines.
Aye.
Mrs. Leba.
Aye. Item B.
Hamster's still on the wheel. His hamster's still on the wheel.
Well, I'm laughing. I'm sorry.
We're waiting for you to introduce.
I found the questions, but the questions I brought were actually for the CAO interview and not for this interview, because I was like, I know I brought the questions, but I brought the wrong questions. So I will get those to you though. So sorry about that. I was so down a little bit there, wasn't I?
I saw it at the wheel.
I was thinking though, I promise you. All right. Item B. Third page. Oh, that's all y'all. On your new business side.
Certified mill levy.
How in the world am I missing this? Oh, we added it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, I'm just a little out of it tonight. Okay. Heather, I think I'm just gonna let you talk about the mill levy piece and
I started the mill levy, I finished it today,
do we have a document or any kind?
There's a PDF in board.
PDF?
Yeah.
I didn't even see it because it was finished. Let's go through that. So more or less, would you go through that and just go stay on the second page? The total. All right, let's drop it.
So our total mills are 27.
Yeah.
Okay. For our general fund. And then for our bond, it would be 5.227 total mills.
And then the total for that's 32.232.
Yes.
Yeah, I was just I'm reading from the same document. The dollars generated for the public, the dollars generated from the 27 mills is 2,304,063. And then the dollars generated from the 5.227 for the bond is $446,050. So that makes a total of 2,750,539. And the total mills is 32.232. And then once this is certified, we send that back to the
Yes, once
County.
it's signed, then tomorrow I will take it to the assessor and then I will send it to the CD.
Okay, very good.
Could I entertain a motion?
Make a motion to approve the mill levy.
Second.
A motion and a second to certify the mill levy at 27.005 mils. Questions or comments? Roll call.
Mrs. Ayala.
Aye.
Mrs. S. Ayala.
Aye.
Mrs. Hines.
Aye.
Mrs. Leba.
Aye. And then this is where we have the change. So next would be the CAO. Which was recommended as the new hire as Chief Academic Officer for the 2024-25 school year. So,
And we could say his name, Jared Wilson is recommended for a new hire as Chief Academic Officer for the 24-25 school year.
So the reason I asked for this to be put as its own line item so we can have only the discussion. So moved.
second. Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve Jared Wilson as the new hire as Chief Academic Officer for 2024-25 school year. Discussion?
Okay. Now, the reason I asked for this to be its own line item, we got the recommendation for hire form and there were just some things that I was concerned about on it. It doesn't really say what type of education or qualifications that he has. It also had a line in here that he just passed the Colorado practice and will be receiving certification in administration soon. I wanted some more clarification on that. And really, I just wanted some more background information on this potential new hire, because this doesn't really give a whole lot.
Okay.
And then on the form that is provided, the one pager, like there is a section that is, where the candidate's current license or endorsement. Does he have an active license as a teacher? I know we're waiting for his practice for administration. Again,
Yes.
I would also like to know when that date is. There was nothing in here about at the bottom for salary placement. Or there's just not a whole lot of information. Like I don't see anything that was attached that shows us why out of these candidates, this one was the best one. And I just think that would be helpful to us. Even if it was the interview questions or like what was the summary of the recommendation from the committee that went through these interviews? I think that is something that I was looking for. So I don't know.
Well, let's start with the last one first.
Okay.
The recommendation from the committee was to hire Jared Wilson. So there was 4 people on the committee. And that's essentially why we came forward with his name. The certification issue, and I'm gonna pick on Colorado for a little bit, is Colorado's fault. So Jared finished a program in Kansas. His master's degree is from Kansas. And so he got a hold of CDE to take the praxis, and they let him take the praxis. Well, to me, if you're gonna let somebody take the praxis, then you should honor the results of the test. And so he took the praxis and passed the praxis. And then Colorado told him, we're not gonna honor the results of the test because we're not sure about your university. So now they've asked him to go back and take the praxis in Kansas, and then they would honor the results of the test. Guess what? The Kansas praxis is the same darn test as the Colorado praxis. So I'm not sure of their reasoning on that. And so he is signed up to take the Kansas praxis. So Colorado will honor his Colorado results and give him a license, essentially. So that all should happen extremely soon. I think there was another question, but I forgot it.
What are his qualifications?
He is currently assistant principal and a athletic director, works with curriculum as well for a charter school in Pueblo. And he has been and is looking, he's been looking to come to La Junta for a little bit of time now. He has some reason to come here. He's in, I believe he has a relationship with somebody that works nearby. And so that's always been part of the plan. He will live here. He will reside here. It may be in Sherrard, right outside town, but it'll be very close. He's been in administration for, I think, 3 years now. young man, still, he says as soon as he finishes this debacle and, with his certification, that he's going to start his superintendency certification next.
Were there concerns from the committee about the experience of people who've been in administration for 3 years?
He did a very, very good job in his interview. And, I mean, it was near unanimous that he was the best candidate. There was no reservations.
So being an assistant principal as well as an athletic director, I mean, just being an AD alone is time consuming. Being an assistant principal is time consuming. How much time is actually spent on curriculum? If we recall to our original,
Oh.
well, and here's where I'm going with this.
Oh.
When we originally brought this position and we did get feedback from the crowd, which were at the time teachers, administration, and instructional coach. Their feedback to us was they wanted somebody in that position who was very knowledgeable in curriculum, because they were really gonna drive the bus and set the standard for everybody to get on the same page. And I know you may not have a definitive breakdown of how much time he has spent on curriculum, but I feel that was one of the largest requirements for someone to fill that position. I do have extreme hesitancy putting someone as second in command, as I did tell you, who didn't have, a lot of admin experience, but you and I thought maybe he could be trained.
Oh, for sure.
But it makes me hesitant, and I know you had mentioned that, he was one of the most affordable. But.
And we didn't take that into consideration. That's just how it rolled out at the end. We tried to judge all the candidates on the series of questions that we asked. So here, I'll go through some of the questions if y'all actually have these questions. Please tell us why you feel you're qualified for the Chief Academic Officer position. Share with us your experiences in analyzing state data. Tell us about your experience with analyzing selected curriculum material. Share with us your experience in developing and delivering professional development of staff. Tell us about your experience in observing and coaching teachers for instructional improvement. Share with us your knowledge in using Colorado evaluation tool, in parentheses RANDA. Share with us your knowledge and experience in the SCAP process. We had sent all the candidates a question beforehand where they were given data that they had to analyze and come back and tell us what they thought from a walkthrough data analysis process. What was your vision for the East Otero School District? Oh, let me see. Here's some additional questions. I don't think we asked all of these, but I think we asked 3 of them. What is your vision for the East Otero School District Chief Academic Officer? And part A of that is, how would you envision bringing our 4 schools within the district together to align and close student achievement gaps? What is your approach to change efforts and new initiatives? How might you gain staff buy-in? How will you coach and support school leaders and instructional coaches? Due to our turnaround status, our district is currently working with University of Virginia and CDE District Improvement Director, and coming soon, a partial manager for the intermediate school. How do you envision yourself working with each of these professionals while keeping our current work focused on track? All I can tell you is that all the candidates were asked those questions. We took copious notes, and he won. He was our top candidate.
So he was the top candidate out of our applicants, but is he the best candidate for our schools for this position that we're looking for? Or something that was the best out of the candidates, but maybe it's not a good fit.
Yeah.
Open back up?
I don't think so. We received 11 applications. I was blown away that we got at the quality and quantity of the applications that we received. And we picked the best four to interview. We interviewed the best four. Two of those guys had doctorate degrees. And we went with the one that we thought fit Mahanta best, fit this position best. I think he's gonna do great.
I think. I'm sorry, did you have anything? Okay, so I'm just speaking for myself. I want to trust the recommendation from the committee because they did take the time and they did have, you know, there was a thoughtful process that was all day going through these. We've already done an interview committee. We know what that's like. I think what I was looking for in your recommendation was more than this form. Like, I would like some background. Where is he from? What is the plan? What was it that stood out to you? Like, there wasn't much, yeah, there's not a lot of meat in here. So, I mean,
Yeah.
I want to trust that, but I need to have something to measure that against, if that's making sense. So, you know, I think expecting more of like a summary from you or like the committee saying like, this, you know, out of all the applicants, this one shined because, and then bullet points that let us know that he is hitting those parts that we wanted in the job description or the requirements for the position, because this is a new position. It is something that we are taking very seriously, which, you know, that, and it's been quite a process to get to this point. So we want to make sure that we have all of the information and we are making the best decision for our district. And so if, you know, in my opinion, I would table this because I would like for you to give us more information that we can actually review. I would also think that maybe, I don't know if we could meet him.
We can't table this. And
We
here's why.
can, if we chose
can't,
to,
we
but
can't. He is set to start January the 6th. We're not having any more meetings where we could go back over this again. He's supposed to get on an airplane on January the 8th.
okay, so why isn't there a start date in the form? So this is what I'm talking about. Is
Well, I
we-
should have done a better job filling out the form first of all, obviously.
Mhm.
I think a lot of that was in limbo when I first filled out the form. After the interviews, I met with Jared a second time. I drove to Pueblo to have a second meeting with him to clarify a few things. And came back and went with the form we had. So I probably could have done a better job of filling out that form and sending y'all a synopsis of the candidacy. I can just tell you, it was a thorough interview process. One of the things I didn't mention a minute ago, we did these interviews on I believe it was a Thursday. I'm almost certain it was. No, it was a Friday. It was actually a Friday. Because it was a work day, and we narrowed from the 4 to 2. And then I told the committee to take their notes, take them home, think about it, and send me by Sunday their choice. They all sent me the same choice. You know, so, and it's this gentleman that I'm recommending tonight. I think you'll how do I put this? I mean, it's almost undermining the committee a little bit by saying, okay, you know, we're gonna table it, we want more. You know,
I don't
don't
think
know
it's
if
undermining the committee if we're asking for more. This was like,
It's a big hire.
Oh, it's a big hire, there's no doubt.
I'd like to look at it more from the trust but verify
Yeah.
standpoint. Because we said that we were going to be putting our mission first before any major decision.
Yeah.
And if you recall, even getting this onto the agenda was quite the task. And leading with that in mind, I want to know that this second newcomer we're bringing into our district, it has what it takes. And not just from the perspective of, okay, he can do the job. This doesn't, I mean, if I wouldn't have called you today and said, what are his qualifications, what this, and this, I would have just made it on a whim, and that's not what I was voted in the seat to do. But I trust your judgment. I just thought the purpose of the one pager was so we didn't have to go through this. And really, again, I'm gonna express that I'm hesitant to have him as second in command. Two people who are learning our district together that makes me nervous. Just because you don't know what you don't know, and you're taking it on, you're learning very quickly, but we do have two outsiders coming in. Maybe it'll be fresh eyes, but
You could understand the hesitancy there. I mean,
Well, the key word is trust. You have to, that's the key word that Angela just said was the word trust. You have to trust that we had a good committee, that we did our work diligently, and that this was clearly the guy that we thought was best for the job.
I also said trust but verify.
Yeah. And we don't have anything to look at to verify
Yeah.
or back up what your recommendation is. There isn't a resume, there's no application there. We don't even have like a little, like I said, a synopsis or summary from the committee or even you. So
I can't
it's
even
not,
Google it. I don't know where he's, like, I don't know where he's from. I can Google it.
yeah. So I think that is where we're trying to get at is like, if we're going to have hires like this, or even with teachers, just we expect more. We want to trust you, but we have to be able to verify that what you're giving us is the best recommendation for our district. So we have to be able to see like, what is it that your body of evidence of like, this is my guy. This is the one I want to go with. That's what we're, or well, that's what I'm looking for.
It may be down the road after some time has passed. It won't be this teeth pulling. But we're just trying to make sure that we're doing what we need to be doing. I like them as Google them.
It's the best guy for the job.
You guys have anything to add or add? Okay. Roll call,
Mrs. Ayala,
What are we voting on?
approving Jared as the CAO. That's the motion.
Nay.
Mrs. S. Ayala,
Aye.
Mrs. Hines,
Nay.
Mrs. Laba,
I don't have enough information to make a knowledgeable choice, so nay.
We do an amended motion.
I'm not saying he's not the guy. I'm saying I need more time and more information.
We can make a motion.
I'd like to make a motion to table this to our next meeting. So we can gather more information, dive a little deeper into the recommendation to make a informed decision.
With second.
Okay, so to be clear, we have a motion and a second to table a motion that had already died. So we do want to bring it back, just clarifying your motion. So you do want to bring it back on the agenda to discuss, but you want more information. Okay, we have a motion and a second to table Jared Wilson as a new hire of Chief Academic Officer for 2024-2025 school year till we have more information.
Here's the only thing I'm saying. If he's not on a plane on January the 8th, you set this guy back even further.
I hear what,
need him
I
in
hear
that
what you're
trade.
saying, and I'm
So-
willing to do a special meeting, whatever date and time that's gonna work for you, so we can get that accomplished for you. I understand that deadline. I hear you, Reese, loud and clear.
Mhm.
But but I am willing to do whatever I need to do to make that timeline work.
If we need to figure out a date for a special meeting.
Any other questions or comments? Roll call.
Mrs. Ayala,
I,
Mrs. S. Ayala. Aye. Mrs. Hines.
Aye.
Mrs. Laba.
Aye. Okay, next. I scrolled, sorry. Item C, selection of an appointment of our new board director. So we already had our interviews earlier at 5:30 in our special meeting. So what will happen now is, we've already had our notes. A board director that feels strongly about a specific candidate, please make a nomination. It doesn't need to be a second. We will just have our discussion and then roll call. If that candidate does not receive the 3 or the majority of votes, then we will move on to the next candidate. But we aren't going through like each one. It is just the nomination from the directors. So I'll open up nominations.
I nominate Gregory Kolomitz to fill the vacant board seat.
Any discussions?
I think that with the very unique challenges that we've had, as of the last few years, our financial issues that we've had that we all know are very extensive. Not to take away from any of the other candidates because they all bring a very nice, fresh perspective. But I think the specific challenges that we've had with the district getting their money withheld by the county, all of these problems that we've had, I think his insight could be, super valuable to us. Also going before the State Board of Education in Denver is something that I think he could help us navigate. We also have the very big BEST grant project coming up for the roofs of some of our facilities. As you know, Greg spearheaded the project for the La Junta Primary School to help get that bond issue passed. He was very instrumental in doing so. I think he has a lot of the qualities that our board really needs right now.
I think all the candidates did very well. I particularly like Greg's, experience with budgets and school finance, something of that nature. I really also liked, how we really hit on how every decision impacts the students and the staff, and that was a main focus of his. And then I also like that he touched on the turnaround status, and that was a big concern of his, if he was to come on to the board.
Anyone else? Roll call.
Mrs. Ayala,
I,
Mrs. S. Ayala.
Aye.
Mrs. Hines.
Aye.
Mrs. Laba.
Aye. Congratulations.
thank you everybody very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody. Please, please.
Run.
Next November, next
next
November, please, next November.
When's that process start, Jill? Like
August.
August?
Keep an eye out, August. I know all of you. I will be calling.
That's right.
So then we have item D. Administer the oath of office.
Coleman, could you come stand in front of me? Repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Gregory Coleman,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully perform the duties
that I will faithfully perform the duties
of the office of school director as required by law
of the office of school director as required by law,
and will support the Constitution of the United States,
and will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Colorado,
the Constitution of the State of Colorado,
and the laws made pursuant thereto.
and the laws made pursuant thereto.
Congratulations.
I'm like, in.
You can.
Buddy.
On the cheap. Wow, that's.
So next, we will select or appoint our new secretary treasurer and our CASB legislative representative slash delegate. We'll start with the secretary treasurer. I will open nominations.
Same process. I nominate Sarah Hines to be the secretary treasurer of the board. Okay. You're welcome. I didn't know if you wanted that, but.
Roll call.
Mrs. Ayala?
I,
Mrs. S. Ayala?
I nominated Sarah to fill the secretary treasurer seat. Aye.
Hines?
Aye.
Mr. Colomans?
Aye.
Mrs. Laban?
Aye. Okay, and then the CASB delegate.
I nominate.
I nominate D as our CASB delegate with B as our alternative.
Roll call.
Mrs. Ayala?
Nay.
Mrs. S. Ayala?
Aye.
Mrs. Hines?
Aye.
Mr. Colomans?
Aye.
Mrs. Laban?
Nay. Okay, but that was 3, yes?
3 days.
Here, is there any more,
So then,
here's my question. Is there any more obligations? And Dee, I'm seriously, I don't know the answer, so I'm asking a question. For the CASB representative, or is the next obligation next time we go to CASB conference? Because I don't know if can you be a CASB delegate? I mean, our CASB representative, if you're not a board member, because the next time we go to conference, you won't be a board member.
there are so in September, there'll be the fall delegate assembly. And then also then we have our winter,
Like coming up
Legislative.
here in 2 months.
Yeah.
There's.
and then the business meet, the annual business meeting.
So there's 2 more.
Yeah. Alright.
But then do you have to go off the board, the CASB board, when you go off our board?
So then my goal then with that is to share the information with Stacy, and then I also think that Greg would be a wise choice with his experience in legislative work that he has had. So I could mentor and then just share the information of how that process works when we talk about our resolutions, and then set us up so that we have that in place for the next legislative, not the next, when I'm off the board.
Just curious.
And then board comments. Welcome aboard, to the board.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Well, now,
Thank you.
did we decide on a delegate?
That was
3-2.
mhm.
I'm sorry, I have 3 nays. Angela, you were a nay. Stacy, you were aye. Sarah?
Aye.
Oh, I'm sorry. I had you down as nay. Okay, apologies.
Board comments. I'll just say, again, we do understand the importance of the position because we've been there with you trying to get this process going, to get this position filled. We just want more information that is added to the board so that we can, again, like Angela was saying, verify your rationale behind the recommendation. So once, that in your court, so once we get that information, then we can set up a Zoom that works best for the board, then we can still readdress in a special session or a special meeting for the
Okay.
CAO specifically.
I think for the vote, you're gonna have to come live. I don't know if we can do a Zoom and vote. I thought those rules were repealed since COVID's done.
Oh, did I say Zoom? I'm sorry. I meant a special meeting for just that specific topic. So we were trying to put everything in this meeting tonight, so we don't have to have meetings spread out over December, but It looks like we will still have a special meeting, and again, we can put out another doodle for that.
Keep in mind that we have had instances where we do come for a noon meeting during people's lunch hours. I doubt it's gonna be very long once we have the information in hand.
Oh, Angela, come on now.
Okay, any other comments? Hearing none, and with no further business, we are adjourned. Thank you.